if a strange woman veiled under a black burqa showed up on your front lawn, told you that your kids were ripe enough to eat, and refused to leave, how long would it take you to grab your daddy's rifle and fertilize your farm with her remains? Ramona just suffered the tragic loss of her husband in a car accident, which also left her gimped. She can't pay her bills on time because the local farming community's not buying her disturbed artwork. She's barely hanging on to her mother title, and then this creepy woman shows up in her yard clearly threatening what's left of her family. When the sun sets and the light casts into the windows, Ramona and her family fall under attack by shadows puppeted by the burqa lady, like the inverse of the Shadow Witch in Lights Out. Where that chick needed deep darkness, this one needs low-angle sunlight at her back, or something like that. I'm going to break down the family's mistakes, what they should do, and how to beat the inverse Shadow Witch in The Woman in the Yard. Ramona's son, Taylor, rips open the blinds to shake her out of her nostalgic doom loop and get her out of bed. She hobbles down to the kitchen where he's cooking Dorito-infused eggs for her and Annie. After breakfast, Annie goes to wash her plate in the sink. The sound of the running faucet mimics the heavy rainfall from the night of the crash, triggering a traumatic dissociative flashback. Taylor snaps her out of it, yelling that there is a woman in the yard. He wasn't lying. There's literally a woman sitting out in the open in their yard, doing nothing, just sitting perfectly still out in the sun, not moving, not asking for help. Nothing. Annie suggests calling an ambulance, but Taylor shoots it down, saying that they can't. All their phones are dead because the power bill hasn't been paid. Except, wait. Ramona's phone was clearly powered on this morning. You saw it and heard it playing videos when you woke her up. We've beaten this horse into Campbell's Chunky. Even if she didn't pay her phone bill, if it has power and there's still any available cell network, she could call emergency services. Maybe she used up the last of her phone's battery this morning. Can't say for sure because there was no battery left percentage icon on her phone. If so, that's just dumb. You knew the power was gonna go out because you didn't pay the bill, and since you knew, you should have charged everybody's phones up, then at least turned one of them off to save for emergencies. Like if, say, Annie had cleaved her fingers off trying to slice a piece of cheese, or a stranger started camping on your front lawn. But you know what's even better than a phone in this situation? A rifle, which you have locked in David's safe. How convenient. I say break that bad boy out and tell her to get off your lawn. This ain't no yard sale, woman. The only thing that we're selling is lead by the pound. I sure as hell wouldn't gimp out there alone, barehanded to find out what she wanted. And that is exactly what Ramona does. Their conversation is, for the most part, cordial, which is why it's so disconcerting. The only reason anyone should be doing what she's doing is because they're crazy. The fact that she's not an elderly nursing home escapee, nor crazy, can only mean one thing. She has malicious intent. Sure enough, the convo takes a hard turn.
Your children are such darlings, ripe enough to eat.
Ramona storms off to the Jeep in the shed. Unfortunately, her plan is not to throw it in drive and run over the old crazy 5 times. Instead, she plugs in her phone and tries to crank the engine on in hopes that she can get enough juice to call the cops. No dice. Seems in addition to the family, she was also neglecting their only means of transportation too. Oh, and on her way back, she notices the chickens have been massacred and her dog Charlie had broken out of his chain leash and ran off. You're injured, isolated on a rural property with your 2 young children, miles from nearest help. Your truck is totaled, the Jeep's battery is dead, and there's no way to call for assistance. A deeply disturbed stranger mutilated your chickens, threatened to eat your children, and is refusing to leave your property. Now, a good lawyer might argue that while the woman was clearly unwell and did say that your kids were ripe enough to eat, she never explicitly stated that she was going to harm them. Today's the day isn't exactly a clear or imminent threat, so maybe it wouldn't meet the threshold for a legally justified shooting. But the beauty of a remote farm like this is that you can simply kill her and tell whatever story sounds best. Yes, officer, she said she was gonna kill me, then came at me with this knife that she totally brought with her. I had to defend myself and my family. Or, better, nope. Haven't seen any woman in a black burqa come through here. Good luck with your search, officer. If Ramona's a bleeding heart pacifist, I say that she keeps the rifle trained on the yard lady while Taylor makes a run for the closest neighbor, which they mentioned might be 2 or 3 miles away. Shouldn't take more than half an hour for him to get there and call up the boys in blue. Ramona needs to stay because she can't make it with that disgusting leg wound that she keeps picking at. Nor would I be comfortable leaving my home undefended with a deranged witch on my lawn. When she gets back inside, she tells Taylor and Annie nothing but sweet lies that the lady must have wandered off from the local nursing home, and that she ran over to the Jeep on her way back to grab a flashlight since it'll be dark in the house tonight with no power. Yes, a classic. Not communicating the level of danger that you're all in to those you love. At least Taylor's not buying it. I mean, who would? That woman in the yard is still out there doing perfectly nothing. All 3 of them defenselessly watch at the window to see what her next move is. That is, until they all fall asleep. Totally normal thing to do during the day when a creepy stranger's sitting on your front lawn. What is it with everyone taking a snooze in life or death situations? It's completely insane. If all of you were truly exhausted from all that back-breaking work that you've been slaving over all day, it still would have been wise to keep shifts. That way, at least one person will always be awake and watching for an excuse to smoke her yard parking. When they wake up, she's now sitting even closer to the house. Taylor suggests driving the Jeep down the road to get help from the neighbors. His mom tells him no, he's not old enough to drive. Taylor says he's driven before with Dad, and besides, it's a straight shot. She says no again. That's it, because she said so. Cool, guess we'll just sit here and wait until something bad happens. From Tay's perspective, the situation's getting worse, and he's been given no logical reason not to try. Now he has every reason to go off and do it on his own without telling her, which is perfect, because now is a great time for everyone to split up and act independently without each other's knowledge. Ramona could have just said, "The Jeep's dead. I tried to start it to charge my phone. It wouldn't turn over." That would have been a real legitimate reason that built trust and created clarity around their situation. They all go back to chilling on the couches and waiting for the yard lady to make the first move, until Ramona throws a tantrum out of nowhere over little Annie drawing her R the wrong way, and Taylor bouncing a ball to pass the time. Once that little mood swing settles down, she goes into another daydream trance where she hugs her daughter with a kitchen knife. Luckily, it was just a pillow. Taylor saw her mom act all this out. He heard her whisper, "It's okay. Shh, it's okay." Right after scolding Annie, he turned around and saw her sink a blade into the pillow that she was lovingly holding. Pretty obvious what that was. Great. Now, in addition to a woman in the yard, your mom has totally lost it. I mean, there's copious evidence that she'd lost it for a long while now, but this whole situation's broken her completely. Ramona's dealing with a laundry list of psychiatric issues now. Severe major depressive disorder with psychotic features, post-traumatic stress disorder, persistent complex bereavement disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and probably a lot more. So yeah, she definitely needs to be relieved of command and probably restrained or quarantined until you can resolve the woman in the yard problem. Shouldn't be too hard. While combative and crazy, she is useless without her crutches. Just grab them and then casually go do what you need to do. At this point, I would suspect that the woman in the yard is Ramona's psychiatrist or therapist. One of those psycho Dennis Reynolds types.
It's like the thrill of being near the executioner's switch, knowing that at any moment you could throw it.
Who use the job as a honeypot to prey on vulnerable people, getting off on nudging them over the edge. It's the only logical conclusion, albeit a far more elaborate setup than I would expect. Regardless, the plan stays mostly the same. Grab Annie, get the gun, shoot the yard lady, ensure that she's dead by repeatedly applying heel of boot to skull, try to start the car again. If it doesn't crank, walk to the neighbor's house a couple miles down the road to call for help, then put your mom into a padded room with a psychiatrist, a non-psycho psychiatrist, all in a day's work. Tay realizes this too, and sneaks off to the shed in an attempt to take the Jeep to their neighbors, leaving the rifle and Annie in the house with their psycho mom and her psycho psychiatrist. Not cool, bro. Naturally, the car's dead. Now he's a sitting duck, and the yard lady attacks. Well, attacks isn't the right word. More like jump scares with a mere apparition. That was crazy though, right? Taylor kind of passes this off as a misinterpreted reflection or something, but like, there was clearly a reflection of a woman in black reaching for him, which is why he 180'd with his fist cocked. Then there was nothing there at all. If I'm Taylor, I'm suspecting that there is evil afoot. Can't say I blame him for shooting first and asking questions later. Good thing it was just your mom. You definitely were not prepared for a boss fight. Knowing this, he beelines for his dad's office where he kept a rifle locked inside a vault while casually juking his off mom like 5 times. Now, there's the slight problem of not knowing the code. Oh, the key's taped right on the side. Okay. Tay does check if there's a round in the chamber and looks around for extra ammo. Unfortunately, there seems to be just the single cartridge in the chamber. That's okay, we'll only need one. She is just sitting there in the middle of the lawn. Ramona chases him into the office where he breaks off the doorknob to prevent her from unlocking the door. He then tells Annie not to let Ramona out of the office. Just bring Annie with you, man. She is going to get suckered into letting Ramona out, which puts everyone at risk here. Taylor heads outside to draw on the woman. Bruh, do I really need to say it? Have you never played a video game in your life? Even if you've never handled a rifle, your lizard brain should still recognize that a bolt handle sticking straight up is not correct. For Christ's sake, it's the same locking motion as a bathroom stall door or yard gate. You gotta pull that handle down to lock it. Even the yard lady knows this. Hell, she practically gives him a tutorial. And in return, Taylor gives her a 10-second count to get lost. Or else. 10, 9, 8. See how stupid this is? No. It's 1, 2, 10. Right before he can squeeze trig, the wind chimes clink. Did you really just turn your back on a clear threat because a wind chime clanked? What? From Taylor's perspective, the woman just slightly raised her hand. Then the chimes clinked. I mean, it's a windy day. There's no reason to suspect that she made the chimes sing. And even if she did, so what? Cool magic trick. Bam! What was the point of that anyway? To flex that you can control shadows? I don't think that you fully understand the danger that you're in, lady. Tay-Tay here is a 2-pound trigger pull away from vaporizing your entire head. You better drop the David Blaine Act and state your business. The woman in the yard regrets to inform him that everything that his mother has told him about that fateful night his dad died was a lie. Okay, making progress. She basically confirmed that she is Ramona's psychiatrist. Now, I'm not saying that this should have been an email, but you could have just rang the doorbell, provided your credentials, and divulged the truth over some Dorito-infused eggs. And that's it. That is apparently all the woman in the yard told him, because right afterwards he heads back inside to confront his mom for the entire story, which he definitely should do, after he executes the psychiatrist for being a deranged threat. So, the full story. Apparently that night, Ramona was having dinner with David. She was clearly miserable, upset about her new life as a stay-at-home mom at the rural farmhouse that they just moved into. She tells him he's fulfilled in the ways that he wants to be, but she's not. She's always doing things for him, for the house, for the kids, for the chickens, and feels like there's nothing left for herself. Simply, she wants to go back to work in the city. David reminds her that they both agreed to this move, that she wanted the lifestyle, that back then she hated her job, coming home every night crying and saying that she was suffocating. He points out that they can't keep moving every time that she gets unhappy. They agreed to stop doing that. Ramona snaps back, cold and aggressive. Okay, well, how's that gonna work out for me? David tries to coax her back to reality. Ramona, this was a we decision. It's a we problem that we have to fix together. Again, Ramona coldly shoots back. maybe I'm unfixable. Right after that, David orders the check and puts his car keys on the table. Ramona immediately snatches the keys, storms out to the driver's side, and takes the wheel. David's last words to her before getting into the car, with her in the driver's seat, are, "You're unhappy, I get it, but you're gonna have to dig deeper." Now, I gotta wonder why David would let her take the wheel down the dark, stormy road at night, fully understanding the level of depression, anger, and anguish that she's exhibiting right now. I mean, she could be having a terrible reaction to a medication that she's on. In either case, I would rip those keys out of her hands. No way in hell am I strapping into that roller coaster. Predictably, it ends in disaster. So yeah, Ramona had lied to Taylor and Annie this whole time, telling them that David's death was just an unfortunate accident where their car lost control on the wet back roads during a heavy storm. Truth is more like, she got him killed by turning the car into oncoming traffic. Look, kids, it was raining. The roads were slick, the tread was low on my tires, I resented your father's happiness, hated myself, and didn't want to exist anymore. You know, it was just an accident. Cool, glad we cleared that up. Now can you please tell us who the this veiled standing outside our house all day is? Because somehow she seems to know your darkest secrets. It's at this moment, as the sun sets, with the family completely fractured and Ramona's old wounds ripped back open, that the Shadow Witch finally makes her move. Taylor quickly figures out that the witch needs light. Light creates shadows, and she can control the shadows. He scrambles to shut the blinds before the shadow can shank any of them with a kitchen knife. After closing all the blinds on the main floor, plunging the room into total darkness and killing the shadow threat entirely, they sprint upstairs, only to find more windows casting shadows. When attacked again, they scramble to climb up into the attic, where there's another open window casting shadows inside. Surprise, they get attacked again. Thankfully, Tay brought the rifle, which apparently makes for an excellent door lock, unlike the bountiful amounts of wood planks and trash scattered all over this house. Not that it matters, because the lady in black just teleports into the attic with him. Yeah, I get the feeling the rifle's not gonna do much here. She's basically the devil on your mom's shoulder, manifested from her trauma or something, like a smile monster. Seems the only way to beat it is either your mom making peace with her demons, or you killing her before her dark passenger chokes you out with her shadow hand. Now, all we need to do is simple. Keep the lights off, chill, have a calm therapy session in the attic with your mom and her unlicensed ghost therapist. Maybe get you some of Dr. Wu's candy afterwards so you don't kill us all. For somebody who figured out how this thing works so fast, you would think turning the flashlight on would set off some alarms. But no, Big Brains turns on the flashlight, thus projecting a shadow, thus enabling them to be attacked again. For the next 10 minutes, Anna and Taylor watch in horror as Ramona tries and fails to fight the demon lady. Then she basically gets possessed by it. She grabs Annie, drags her downstairs to the bedroom, and finally snaps out of her trance just long enough to tell Taylor to grab Annie and get out, because she's about to take the easy way out. I can't exactly show that part, but let's just say that it involves a chair, a rifle pointed upwards, and a toe. And it's only then, while scratching that pesky itch under her chin with 20 inches of cold hammer forged steel, that she has an epiphany. Life is beautiful. She does love her kids. And hey, bonus, she doesn't have to do anything for the chickens anymore, or her husband. This realization snaps her out of it, undoing the image of the woman in the bedroom trying to pull the trigger. And that's pretty much it. That's how you beat the Shadow Witch. It's easy. Just stop being sad and be happy instead, and the evil monsters will magically go away. She walks outside where her kids, realizing what was about to happen, come running back and hug her. Well, that was lame. In the end, only the chickens got massacred. The demon was vanquished as soon as Ramona had her come to Jesus moment. However, it also would have dematerialized as soon as we hopped her up on pills, shot her in the head, or simply left her immediate proximity entirely. And for that reason, I think the woman in the yard was beaten. Moral of the story, keep an eye on your loved ones, and step in before their mental breakdown conjures the Grim Reaper onto your front lawn.